Well, it is so good to have Micah Tyler with us again. It's been a while since we've caught up with Micah. We have chatted a few times over the years, but welcome, Micah. Great to have you back on Rise and Shine.
Hey, so glad to be rising and shining with you right now.
It's so good to have you with us. And look, there's lots to talk about. Obviously, you've got new music out, a new book as well. But let's first of all do a bit of a catch up on family and life. What's been happening in your family, church, all that sort of stuff?
You know what? 2022 was a wild year. We had I worked on writing a book. I worked on writing a whole album. I had a headlining tour. We did a lot of shows, a lot of things. So at the end of the year, around like December the 10th, we shut it down. And so I've got a wife and three kiddos, and I did nothing but just hang with them for about a month and a half. So
Excellent.
we're just now emerging out of our hibernation the last month of being a family, and so, which has been so sweet. We got to do some really fun things. We surprised our kids with experiences for Christmas this year. So instead of like gifts, we didn't tell them they were going to get this, but we gave them trips. And so I got to be the guy who ran around and took our kids to three different places that they've always wanted to go to, and we just had a blast doing that. Made all the memories. And so yeah, so this is I'm kind of back. Dad's back to work right now. It's going to be a really fun year because we built a whole lot of things last year. And so yeah, but everybody's healthy, good, up and running, and ready to take on another year.
Brilliant. That is so good to hear. And that's, I think, experiences are great, aren't they? Because, oftentimes, particularly these days, our kids have typically got everything they need. So,
Yeah,
it's not like we need to buy them anything, but an experience is a great memory. It's something that they can look back and go, oh, I remember we did this, as a
yeah.
family, or I had the opportunity to engage in that activity. And, it's a wonderful memory they can hold for the rest of their life.
Yeah, and we have a motto, a saying for our family. It's we sacrifice as a family, so we celebrate as a family. And
Mm,
so it's hard with me traveling the way that I do and being gone for things. But when I'm on airplanes all the time and I'm staying in hotels, we get points for all those things. And so we try to make sure and like redeem whatever we can to
excellent.
for our family. So it's like, hey, if dad's gonna be flying on planes, then we're gonna use all these points. So we end up using those points for flights and hotels to go to three different places. And like I said, for me, like for them, their favorite thing may have been like watching this play in New York City or going to Legoland or watching a basketball game. For me, my favorite part was watching them do things that they love. And so what was
Yeah.
really neat was that we got to go and also not only did we get to go make memories and have fun, but also we get to show them like, hey, we see you and we see the people that you're becoming, and we just really wanted to tailor this after something that we know you would love. And so when
Mhm.
all that worked out, there's nothing better as a parent than getting to see your kid love doing something that you just love doing with them.
That is so good. I love to hear that. How old are your kids now?
So my youngest is 9, Seth. Then our daughter Hannah is 14. She'll be 15 next month, and my son Noah is 16, and he'll be 17 in April. So they're 11th grade, ninth grade, and third grade.
Okay, so they're certainly growing up. It's amazing how quickly they grow, isn't it? Blink and you miss it,
Oh,
as they say.
I'm telling you. I took my oldest to a college visit the other day. We went and
Oh,
visited
wow.
university and got to like, and he's still a year and a half from going, but like it got really real there for a second. I was like, he's about to be like a grown up and like have his own decisions to make. And so yeah, his mom's not taking it as well as I do on certain days, but at the same time, it's like we're really trying to soak up every chance that we get to be a family, because we're only all going to be at this place where we are right now. And so tomorrow it's going to be a whole new day, and we're going to be one
Mhm.
step closer to everybody having their own independence and moving forward. And so we're just trying to soak it up as best as we can. But as much as we pray, time is just not slowing down the way that we wish that it would.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's one of those things, isn't it? Next thing you guys will be empty nesters, and it's a whole new season for you.
Whole
So
new season. Yeah, that's right.
pretty amazing. That's so good. Let's talk about some of the new stuff that you've got out. I mean, obviously, the new song "Build a Boat" that came out last year. I mean, just incredible. I love the song,
Oh,
and
no, that's Colton Dixon. I wish that I wrote Build a Boat. That'd be, listen, if I can have that one, you can give that one to me. So my song's I See Grace. Me and Colton are on the same record label, and I told him, I said, if you want to swap songs, I'll take yours all the way. But no, I listen, as a huge fan of Build a Boat, I'm grateful that my name's in the same sentence. But I See Grace is the new song that I have out right now, which is also playing on the radio, and we're getting a
I
good
love it.
time getting to celebrate with it. But like I said, anytime that I get mentioned in the same sentence as a Colton Dixon song, that's a great day for me.
You handle that so well, mate. I've always wanted to do that, and I thought, who could I do it to? Micah Tyler's the man that I could do that to, and you
Listen,
handle it so well. So
as someone who's been on a lot of tours with Mercy Me, and
yeah,
I've heard people tell them like, I can't tell you how much I love Who Am I. or
Yeah.
Praise You in This Storm. Like Casting Crowns and Mercy Me are interchangeable bands.
Yeah.
Now, one time I was doing a Mercy Me show. We showed up to a theater in California, and the way that the theater marquee was set up on the front, the big sign, they had a sign on one side, and then it kind of came to a point, and there was a sign on the other side. So it's two different signs. And I walked out to get something to eat. So when I walked out, I saw on the sign it said, no, sorry, I went to get something to eat. And when I came back, I came the opposite direction that I had come. I looked up and it said, welcome Casting Crowns. And I went, oh my gosh, I've got to find the proper authorities right now, because like they put the wrong band up there. This is going to be, did people buy tickets thinking they were coming to Casting Crowns? And I was so nervous. So I just started running to the other side of the building. I looked back, I looked on the other side, it said, welcome Mercy Me. Casting Crowns was coming to the same theater 2 weeks later, and they just put up both sides. And I was like, okay, well now I'm relieved. What are the odds of this happening? So no, again, if I can take credit, if you want to give that one to me and start announcing on the radio, I'll build a boat every day.
That's right. That's right. Nah, look, it's you've done, as I said, done well. And the funny thing is that the one band I would love to do that to was Casting Crowns and Mercy Me, because I thought the same. If I ever got to interview one of those two, I would love to switch it around. But I'm not sure how they would take it. But I thought, I knew you would be able to take it really well, so I thought I'd throw it out to you.
Hey, to be fair, Bart Millard of Mercy Me and Mark Hall from Casting Crowns, they both have shirts. Bart has a shirt that literally, it's a black shirt. It just says not Casting Crowns. And Mark has a shirt that says not Mercy Me. So they get that enough times already that they know how to handle it at this point.
I love it. That is brilliant. Well, look, let's talk about the song though. I See Grace, as you mentioned, it is the new one from you. Tell us about the story behind the song.
Yeah, so it's just I've been a believer in Jesus since I was 10 years old. So I'm almost 30 years into following after Jesus. But I noticed that for the longest time, I would mess up. I'd fall short on those days, like we all do every single day. And I would go to God and I would say, "Hey, can you please forgive me for this? You know, if I've sinned, I've fallen short in some kind of way. I messed up. I hurt somebody. Would you forgive me?" And what I found was I truly believed that Jesus would forgive me and he would show grace to me. But what I realized after that for a while is I wouldn't forgive myself, and I would still hold on to the shame and the pain that were attached. So I would still carry those things around. So when I thought about me, I would go, "Oh yeah, I'm that screw up. God loves me anyway, but I'm just a mess up. I'm just a goofball. I can't get it right." But what I've learned is the longer that we walk down the road with Jesus, the longer that we spend time with him, and the closer that we draw nearer to him, the more that we get to see things from his point of view. So now I realize that when I look back now, I don't see the shame and the hurt and the sin anymore. What I see is I see his forgiveness, and I see his mercy, and I see a grace that is greater than all my sin. And so when we walked in the room to write this song, whenever we just got to just sing about the grace of God and the beauty of saying, like, God, on a day like today where I'm going to fall short, if I think that falling short equals me being a failure, I'm going to be a failure every day. But if I can see the grace of you in my falling short, then that means I have victory in Jesus every single day. And so this is just an anthem saying, like, no matter what comes my way, I want to see your grace over everything else.
Excellent. That is so good. And I got to say, we had a request just a couple of weeks back from a lady named Rhonda who asked to play your song. And she says, a little message that she said here, "Can I put it forward that I'm standing on these songs as a testimony, and that Micah Tyler has rescued people from addiction and seen people set free from jail as well." So, just to know that, you're impacting people in Australia in a powerful way. I mean, obviously it's had a difference in your life, and you're, I guess, writing that out of that perspective, but know that it's actually really strengthening and encouraging people, even here in Australia, as they hear that song as well.
Well, and here's the deal. It wouldn't do that if stations like Vision Radio was not faithfully sending these songs out into the prisons. I have not visited a prison in Australia. I have not been able to go into a hospital room in Australia. I have not been able to walk into cars that are on their way to divorce court and be able to talk about the grace of God. But you guys have made that possible. So that's why I just am so grateful for Christian radio and for stations like yours and for you guys faithfully serving and sending out the gospel beyond prison walls, inside of tough situations, in hospital beds, to be able to remind people of that grace. So this is a partnership that it just reminds me again how great God's grace is, but also how great it is to get to partner with guys like you.
So good. And that's, you're exactly right. I mean, we're in the same boat. I mean, I've never, been into the prison and spoken to people or anything like that, but, through the wonders of technology that becomes possible. But it's a great partnership, isn't it? Everyone's playing their part. but ultimately people's lives are being changed and set free, and people are growing in their faith in the Lord, which is wonderful.
Beautiful. I love
Let's
it.
talk about your book too. I mean, you've just
Yeah.
written a book, and it's amazing. I mean, it seems like, I don't know if it's a bit of a season or what's going on, but like lots of people writing books at the moment. Mike Donahay's put a book out. CC
Yep.
Winans has just released a book. You've brought a book out, so it seems like it's the new thing to do in Christian
Yeah.
radio. But it's a great book that you've written. It's called Walking Free: Taking Small Steps to a Big God. Tell us about what the genesis of the book and what people will expect when they read it.
Yeah, I think so many of us songwriters just it's really special when you get to talk about a topic for 3.5 minutes. But sometimes you're like, I kind of have more to say about this than what can be contained in a song. And so when we released the song Walking Free, I knew it was special to me. It was very, very personal to me. And so when we released it, what was so special is that I can't tell you how many people like Rhonda would reach out and have a story that went along with this song, or like it reminded them of something in their story. And so I just kept talking to people, and I would go back to the merchandise table after a show, or I would catch somebody at a show sometime, or I get a private message on Instagram or Facebook or something like that of people saying like, I heard your song and it helped me remember of this freedom that I can walk with Jesus, that he's the reason why I'm able to be sober to this day, or I've battled addiction, or I've battled incarceration. I've been able to make it through these things. And so God just kept seasoning my heart to these things. It just kept reminding me that, man, there's just so much to talk about. There's so much freedom in Jesus. So when the opportunity came up, kind of out of nowhere, I was going to write a 7-day YouVersion Bible study that was going to talk about, like a 7-day Bible study about 7 steps to walking free. And what's funny is I told my management company about it, and they said, yeah, let's have a meeting about that. So I went to a meeting, and there was a publisher there for a book. They said, hey, we love the idea for the book. And I was like, what book are we talking about? And they said, the Walking Free book. And my manager just knew. They said, hey, we knew 100% that when you said you had 7 days, that there was a lot more in there than that, because they knew how passionate I was about it. And so I ended up meeting a guy named Robert Nolan, who I co-wrote the book with. And yeah, those 3.5 minutes that we tried packing as much as we could into turned into 250 pages
Wow.
of just reminding my own heart, because this is not a self-help book. This is not it's a Jesus help book. It is me going, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have it all figured out. I'm not on the other side of the finish line looking back at everyone saying, okay, here are the 42 steps of exactly what I did to where now my life is perfect. It's me going, hey, we are in the trenches together. We might as well walk together.
That's
So it's
awesome.
just taking one step at a time away from the things of this world that try to trap us, and into this beautiful walking towards and setting our eyes on the prize set before us, and running the race with endurance, casting off these heavy weights so that we can fulfill this freedom that Jesus has given to us.
Excellent. That is so good. So, of course, that's out now. People can get their hands on that. Walking Free, it's called. Now, I know that, I mean, obviously these days it's all on Kindle and Audible and whatever. Is it an audio book as well?
Oh yeah, it's me reading it, and so like
Oh,
I
fantastic.
spent the time doing that. So I got to kind of add some extra things in there too, because I try to make it seem like, hey, I'm reading the book, but also we can have a little conversation about it too. And so it's been neat, because some people have bought the Audible, some people have bought the book, some people got both, because it's like, hey, you're reading to me, so when I'm making notes in the margins, I can still hear the book going and stuff. And so it's been neat. People are really like getting in there and getting it every which way. And so it's on the Kindles and all that kind of stuff too. So anywhere, anyway, anyhow you get a book, it's available to you there.
Fantastic. I love it. I do enjoy listening to the Audible books, on the way to and
Yeah.
from work and as I drive around. So I think, yeah, and I always love it when the author is the reader. So I'm going to be, certainly more inclined to grab that one
Yeah.
and listen to you. I love your voice. So it's a
Thanks,
great way to
man.
go.
There you go.
Hey, mate, we so have enjoyed catching up with you. It's obviously a very busy season of life, and I'm sure that there's not the end. I mean, you've probably got more books and more songs and more to come down the track. But we've just really enjoyed. I mean, obviously I remember we spoke to you right back at the start when you did that parody, when you sort of introduced yourself as an
Yes.
artist, and
The Adele
wrote that
song. That's
parody,
right. Yeah,
playing off on some of those other your heroes, I guess, in CCM. But
absolutely.
it's been great to connect right from there, and all the different conversations we've had over the years. But look, just want to pray a blessing over you for 2023 and all that's ahead for Micah and for your family as well. So God bless you, mate. Thanks so much for catching up.
Hey, it is always an absolute joy. And hey, we got a new EP coming out in March, so you'll get 5 more songs from me coming up real soon. Hopefully, we'll get to talk about them again sometime.
Fantastic. So good. Mate, thanks again. Have a great day.
Hey, you too, man. Thanks so much.